Hey everybody, welcome back. I'm playing the Binding of Isaac Afterbirth. You know what? Scrap it. You know, we're just putting this episode straight in the trash can. Unless this is, unless it's that item right there. Don't do it. NL, don't do it. Ryan, you don't have to do... Oh. 1FOZ. T9-2T. Why did you do it? You know why I did it. I never had a choice. Look at the parameters of this run, and you'll see why I freaking did it. Great rate of fire, great speed, damage is good. Oh my god, I forgot we have the best trinket in the early game you could ever ask for. Unlimited money. Spacebar item is a temptress, is a succubus. Can you stop with that, please? It's a charlatan. It promises you the world. And it grants you nothing but oblivion. And I'm not talking about the Elder Scrolls 4. Give me a bomb. Give me a bomb or you're a coward. Oh, not like that, though. Never mind, I've decided that this is completely okay. Step 2 of this run is we go into the shop, we double everything, we live our lives in beautiful peace and harmony. Dude, I swear to you, I'm not trying to act like the universe has it out for me. You know, everybody knows people like this in their lives. They always assume that their problems are the result of them having bad luck for whatever reason, or disproportionately bad luck. They refuse to take any account for their own destiny. They always assume, like, just some kind of cosmic sense of luck is out to get them. That being said, the universe is totally screwing me over. I'm pretty sure if you chart my use of the Omega Penny across, like, the last 50 times we used it, we have, like, 20 payouts. And I'm not saying that's horrible. I'm just saying it's lower than you would expect. Now, you're always, I think at least, more likely to remember the losses than the wins with an item like this, but still. I'm feeling the burn, is all I'm saying. That being said, even when it loses, it kind of wins, because, well, no, not really. We get 1 penny out of it. I was going to say it allowed us to save a bunch of money, but only because we, you know, nuked the shop from existence. It's not really like we got anything else out of that, but that's what makes it a fun item. You don't need me to go on a long-winded analysis about, you know, the Omega Penny. You already know what's, you know, my personal problem with the Omega Penny is very simple. My personal problem with the Omega Penny is very simple. Most items don't benefit from being doubled. Or at least many items don't benefit from being doubled. So it's a 50% chance to double an item, and sure, in a lot of circumstances, or in some circumstances, that'll work out, and, you know, if you hit that roll, you're going to be happy about it. But sometimes the double doesn't matter, because something has a more static effect. So I do think it's kind of like... I don't think it needs a buff, let me put it that way, because I think it's interesting enough, and it does have the power to swing your run, which is kind of the sweet spot for items. But it also, you know, is not lights out. Like, if you compare this item to the D100, give me the D100 any day of the week, if the win is on the line, is all I'm saying. But anyway, we're lucky we're starting in such an advanced position on this run, that it doesn't really matter if we, might try to double that, but I want to see the shop first. We might, it might not matter that much if we screw up our first few rolls with this item. We're unable to get, like, anything from the item room. It's worth it for the Zane, in my opinion. Mostly because we've got a really, really good start to begin with. Now I'm in this point where I'm like, at some point, it just has to work. It's the actual dictionary definition of gambler's fallacy. But we've used this item 4 times now. Every single time it's hit me with the no, or ask again later. I do find myself being like, well, the next one is obviously going to be a yes. All you have to do right now is take a look at this run and imagine what it would be like if we hadn't missed every item room and every shop. Take our HP early. What do you got for me in here? Dude, this is still really strong. I refuse to get negative about this run right now. I'm gonna out the size of the backlog right now. E3 is over. I don't mean as like a concept, as E3 is over. All I mean is that the final day of the Electronic Entertainment Expo is completed. How did you feel about E3 this year? I went in... Hold up. Hold up. You! That's fine. Who cares about a deal with the devil anyway? I went in cynical. Cynical's not the right word. I went in jaded. I hate, like, let me go off on a little bit of a rant here, okay? I think I've done this exact rant, so we'll keep it, as short as possible. So only like 20 or 30 minutes here, if we can get away with it. I follow almost exclusively game-related personalities on Twitter. Every E3, the same, like, song and dance shows up, which is, hey, like, having fun during E3, but just remember... Whatever, dude. A lot of people worked really hard to bring these announcements to you, and I'm like, yeah, I know, they're human beings. At the same time, you know, you shouldn't be rude to the developers, that's 100%. But you can snark on Twitter. Because I see the game's personalities during the Super Bowl. You know, tens of thousands of people work extremely hard to bring the Super Bowl to, you know, audiences around the world. And then, oh, is the sports ball on? I sure hope the sports ball's on today, you know. So, everybody loves it being Mystery Science Theater 3000 until it's like the thing that they worked on. And I'm like, nah, dude. You gotta be able to laugh at yourself first and foremost, okay? Like, we almost died on this run. Let's laugh about that. I just said we couldn't die, and then here we were in a terrible situation. Half of Red Heart left, and Guppy's collar going, am I going to be useful for once? That's a delicate little moment for us. But anyway, so I don't go in being like, I'm going to tear these games down, but I'm just jaded. Jaded's got a bad rap as a word, but I don't really think it is. The rest of the year... Everybody accuses me of being pro-corporate, you know, and Ubisoft adds a microtransaction. I just needed an item, forgive me. Ubisoft adds a microtransaction into their game. Is this the death of the video game industry as we know it? And I'm like, maybe not. People were like, you're a shill. And then when the companies all get together and have a huge corporate event where they show off a trailer, apparently if you ever criticize the trailer, it's, oh, well, what are you even doing in this industry if you don't get excited about E3? It's like Christmas morning. It's the day... I think I'm just like, I've got a role reversal from a lot of other people in the industry. When a game is a product that's actually out, I'm more lenient to it than I am when it's a trailer where, you know, it's so highly curated that literally nothing could go wrong in its presentation. I also feel like the criticism that happens during E3 is totally baseless. Like, whenever a trailer comes out, people are like, oh, that mechanic looks cool. Does it? You don't know anything about it at all, except the scripted gameplay demo that they showed you on stage. Like, it could be awesome. It could be way better than you're giving it credit for. It could also be complete trash. You know, E3 is really just... It's trailers, okay? It's like when you go to the movies half an hour early, and they're like, come to the multiplex next year for Ant-Man 3, and you're like, that looks good. And you know I'll be first in line to see that, because I'm a hypocrite. But anyway, I know I'm not doubling anything anymore. We haven't had a successful payout so far. Do I misunderstand this item, or am I just getting bad rolls? Possibly both, by the way. But as is, you know, kind of surprisingly often the case, I left E3 this year. And I wasn't at E3, because, you know, I don't want to spend my own money to go there and then be like, yeah, it looks okay. But anyway, hold up. I left and I was like, I think that E3 was actually pretty cool this year. The only thing I can get excited about is conceptual announcements. So, you know, we watched the Sony conference. I thought that Death Stranding looked really neat. It looks like a completely unique take on video game sci-fi, because it is not a dude that's a space marine, and it is not, the other one would be like Mass Effect, I guess, where all the aliens, like, are on a global council together and they sort of get along, but then there's, you know, intrigue. And that's not an insult, meant to be an insult, at least towards Mass Effect, by the way, but amazing. I digress, is really what I'm getting at here. I think we need to take this now. Try it out. So I think that looks really cool. But afterwards, people were like, what's the gameplay? I don't know what... Slow your roll. It's E3. They could have mocked up a gameplay slice for you. You know, taken a couple of months to work that out, put it on stage. It doesn't even necessarily mean it's going to be indicative of the final product. I was watching other people, like, critiquing the conferences. And they're like, is this gameplay? I'm pretty sure this is gameplay right now. And I'm like, what do you mean it's game... It's obviously not gameplay. There's no HUD. The camera switches back and forth from third person to all of a sudden now you're seeing it from the villain's eyes, and now you get the over-the-shoulder cam, like, seamlessly in combat. No game in history has ever done that, nor would they, because the players would be, like, confused as heck. Anyway, I don't mean to sound overly cynical, but I'm just saying, like, the level of criticism during E3 is low, in my personal opinion anyway. But I left being excited about a few things. Super Mario Party. A Mario Party game in the style of the Mario Party games that are actually good. That comes from someone who owns 8, 9... I own like the last 4 Mario Parties. I can't remember what they're even called at this point. One of them's like Mario Party World Circuit that you can all play on your 3DS. Let's go! We actually got something. Mario Tennis Aces. I will still absolutely 100% pick up. I'm all in. Death Stranding, the sci-fi looks super cool. The Remedy game that looks like SCP but set in like a House of Leaves style mansion looks extremely neat. I just, you know, I've had a lot of bits recently that are sort of cynical about the state of the industry. Don't take this the wrong way. It's not that I'm cynical about video games. I just, like, I don't know, I'm cynical about my the people that do what I do. For the most part. Like, I sometimes think, you know, they showed, like, the Control trailer, which was well, Control's a bad example. Death Stranding is a much better example, because I'm making it up off the top of my head anyway, and it didn't really happen. But you know, it showed a lot of Norman Reedus walking around. People were going, what's the gameplay? Yeah, it looks cool, but what's the gameplay loop? Is this the loop? What's the loop? And then, I just feel like if at some point he had pulled out an assault rifle and started mowing down ghosts or something like that, people would have been like, I'm all in! Where do I pre-order? It's not a bad... Is that a tinted rock? It is. It's not a bad thing, by the way, to ask for, you know, some clarification for what's going on with the game. But also just let yourself be in the dark a little bit. It's marketing material anyway. We don't... Asking a question about a marketing material, like, doesn't make any sense. It's like looking at somebody in, you know, cosplay and being like, I wonder what color their eyes are, really. You don't have to worry about it. What's being presented is not an accurate representation of, you know, the image that they push out there on a daily basis. It's like, remember Watch Dogs? Everyone was like, this is gonna revolutionize gaming. I always bring up Watch Dogs because I feel like for a lot of people it was like the, that was the one that broke the camel's back. You know, it broke that veil of illusion where you're like, when I was a kid I was always like, why doesn't anybody just make a game that's better than all the other games? And then Peter Molyneux was like, check it out, I'm gonna do it, it's called Fable. And then when it came out I was like, Peter, this is not bad, but it's not really what you were kind of promising. And that's where my innocence in gaming died, and I realized that that was the greatest dodge I've ever made. I realized the reason that no company makes a game that's just better than every other game ever made is because you just can't. You know? Like, it's hard. Everybody, like, the best game on the market right now, even for trash games, everybody on the team is working their butts off every single day. They got lots of experience in the industry. Things just go wrong sometimes. But anyway, I'm getting off my original point. I always, and I feel like this is very common for me, I go into E3 being like, I don't really care what they announce. And then I leave and I go, you know what? I'm kind of in for some of these announcements. Like, I was surprised to see people say Bethesda's conference was bad. Because for me, I was like, what do you want out of an E3 conference if you don't like what Bethesda did? And by the way, I'm not involved in the format wars at all. I don't really care about where these companies stand in relation to one another in the industry. But I was like, what do you want out of an E3 conference more than Bethesda being like, hey, here's the details on our new Fallout game, and here's a new IP, and also we're making the Elder Scrolls 6. And also, you know, here's some DLC for Prey that everybody asked us for. And also, here's Rage 2. You know, I was like, that's... As far as I was concerned, you can't get better than that. As far as a conference goes. They were like, man, we're going to iterate all of our franchises by one. It's like, yeah, that's what you do. But anyway, I digress. I had a good time with the E3 announcements. I get kind of a nihilist attitude about it. Where I'm like, you know, it's the same thing basically every year. You get really excited about these products and they come out and you're like, actually it's, you know, it looked like it was a 12 out of 10 and it's only an 8.5, and everyone goes, it's a betrayal. And the companies are like, but you love the trailer. But anyway, I'm glad that it's over and we can get back to, like, you know, real video games coming out. That's more my speed. I love mechanics. Oh, let's go. Okay, so a gift is a free item. Let's do that. And I'll probably buy the other one. Obviously, the jar is just horrendous. Stopwatch is really good. I guess we'll leave on that. Well, we should have maybe tried to double the gift again, I guess, but... It's kind of remarkable that this run is still going relatively strong when you consider the strife that it's faced. I've missed several high-quality item rooms, including a Judas' Shadow that really, really would have done something for us. In my defense, you know, 2 Judas' Shadows is probably like 1.8 times better, right? So, I hate Void, but... What have I done? What do I continue? Of course, by the way, this is the one where it works. I also don't actually hate Void. It just annoys me sometimes. Where are we? Depths 1. I'm adrift in my own run here. So yeah, all I'm saying about E3 is I think I tend to be the guy who goes in with, like, low expectations and comes out being like, that was good, right? And everybody else is like, they didn't show 14 minutes of live gameplay demos. And I'm like, yeah, because if you showed a half hour as some dude really playing the game and they messed it up, they'd be, you know, their stock price would fall like 30 points. Hello. You're looking fresh, Kate?
I'm actually dirty.
I don't know how to spin that for the video, but that's okay.
I like your style.
Yeah?
Yeah. You got the PJ, socks,
Thank you.
T-shirt.
You know what I call it? Sleepwear. It's not streetwear, it's
Sleepwear?
sleepwear.
You sleep on it.
Yeah, you sleep in it.
You sleep in it. Okay.
Love you.
Love you too.
I didn't invent sleepwear. It's a concept that's been around for quite some time, but that's okay. Ah, we have our boss fight. So I'm just gonna level with you. I don't even know if we're... Have we been to our item room? Did I try to double it and mess up? I don't know. The curses have me all the Twitter here. So all I'm gonna do is try to do this. I'm gonna fight this guy. I'm gonna avoid the item, which may also try to double it and then void before or after. I don't know. Again, we have like 7 voids sucked up, which might be 1, or it might be 7, which is a hard number to get to by just doubling an integer, but so be it. Yeah, so we lowered our deal with the Devil Chance somehow by doing that, or maybe that was just the refractory of that right there, but we did get 2 stats up for doing that. So, beats me, dude. I sort of don't understand where we are on this run, but what I like about it is that we're 1 item away from becoming Guppy. Here's the reason I've been doing these bits a lot, by the way, is because, like, the bits on the industry. It's because I do get annoyed sometimes. You know, I have been doing this a long time. I understand my place in the so-called industry, and people I'm 100% aware are already just being like, please just talk about when you went to the grocery store the last time. Alright, I'll do it, because the last time I went to the grocery store, my wife gave me a grocery list, And, you know, like 6 of the things that were on the grocery list happened to not be in the grocery store, which I thought was really, you know, Whole Foods was leaving me out to dry on the husband duties there, because, you know, I had to come up with, like, reasonable analogs. You know, I was at Whole Foods, they didn't have orange juice. What are you supposed to do? You can't come home and be like, yeah, it turns out the grocery store didn't have orange juice. They're gonna be like, you know, obviously you just forgot it. What kind of self-respecting grocery store doesn't have orange juice? So I was like, oh, they didn't have orange juice, but I got you, like, guava juice. Kate was like, they didn't have orange juice? Like, I know, right? I think she bought it, which is true, or fair, I should say, because they actually they were out of orange juice. I didn't think it happened. But it happened there. Dude, I'm buying on this floor. I'll take a quick little gamble to see if that works. I do want to go to Boss Rush, but I'm way more interested in just making sure that we survive on this run. But the reason I bring it up is because 51 out of 52 weeks of the year, whenever I defend the corporation for making a business decision, I get called a shill. And then during E3, when I go, don't get too excited, guys, like, don't pre-order, it's just a trailer. So many people go, well, do you ever enjoy anything in your life? Why don't you just let us enjoy something? And I'm like, dude, you're being a hypocrite. You can be excited about something. I got absolutely no problem with that whatsoever. I'm just saying you gotta temper your expectations as well. It's a frustrating position to be in, because I actually see myself as a consumer advocate. For the most part. The only thing is, everybody in the gaming industry has a chip on their shoulder about gamers' rights, which, I mean, I'm not saying I don't get it. There's some companies that are doing some sketchy stuff. But I always take, like, the nihilistic approach that I truly believe in, which is like, well, if you don't like what Shadow of War did, I'm with you. I loved Shadow of Mordor, didn't buy Shadow of War because I thought what they were doing was pretty crappy, and I will just live my life bereft of the Shadow of War experience, even after they fixed it, because by the time they fixed it, you know, it was just kind of like, you know, the window's gone. I think we'll stick with this. But I get the impression sometimes that saying don't buy it is like, it's sacrilegious, because you're like, but I want the story. Like, I want to play it, I just want it to be better. Yeah, well. So let me pull up the Fallout New Vegas quote about, you know, when the game franchise you like does something you don't like. From where you're sitting, kid, give it a second here. W-sitting is a position that's from where Fallout New Vegas. This is gonna be worth it. Terrible. Just I can't find the. Just this bit's gonna be worth it. Fallout New Vegas opening quote. Fallout New Vegas intro. You just got to give it a moment here is the thing. Click this button. I don't think Benny, what do you say at the opening? He goes like, from where you're sitting, kid, it must have been a bramp, and a bramp. Whatever. Now I can't stop looking for it. Where are your quotes? Yeah, truth is, game was rigged from the start. I knew that part. Get me the heck out of here. This was a terrible loss of conversational momentum. Anyway, that's my piece, and that's all I'm going to say on it. Why is it that E3 is the one time of the year where if you're even slightly cynical, everybody looks at you like you're the Grinch? And then for the rest of the year, if you're even mildly positive about things that actually exist, people call you a shill. It's so backwards to me. It's like if, you know, you had like a deadbeat dad, and he's like, hey, for your birthday in a year and a half, I'm gonna give you a pony. And then your mom was like, you know, Dad's made a lot of promises. I wouldn't get too excited about the pony. And you're like, shut up, Mom! Let me be excited about the pony, okay? And then, you know, a year and a half rolls around, and he doesn't get you a pony, but he gets you something, like, pretty nice. Like, it's relatively good. And you're like, you know, the mom is like, well, it's not a pony, sweetie, but it's like, you know, this is something that is more or less what you wanted. And you're like, shut up, Mom, you're a shill for Big Dad. And then after he gives you the thing that is worse than the thing that he promised you, 6 months later, he goes, but next year, I'm giving you a pony. And you go, this is the one, dude. It's the year of the pony. And then it rolls around next year and he gives you like a rocking horse. And you're like, this isn't a living pony. This is a low-res pony. And by that point, your mom is just, you know, she's on a bottle-a-day Merlot habit. Wondering where it all went wrong. Truth is, the game was rigged from the start. That's right, I shop at Whole Foods. You know why I shop at Whole Foods? Because my wife likes the juice there. And I think that their products tend to be a little bit better than the products at the other grocery store close by that is a little bit cheaper, but not nearly enough to justify the markup. But at the same time, it's a worthwhile compromise for us. How do you feel about that? You know, the only thing that annoys... Well, there's a lot of things that annoy me about shopping at Whole Foods. I think I've done this exact bit of commentary before, which wouldn't surprise me, but the Whole Foods near where I live, again, didn't have orange juice last time I went. That's an uncommon occurrence, okay? But they didn't have orange juice. You know what they did have? Organic marshmallows that were like $3 a marshmallow. And I've seen them in that store for like a year. So I can only assume, my Econ 101 by correspondence experience tells me, they must be selling some organic, gluten-free marshmallows to people on the regular. They might be great, but if you want to make a boy cynical, that's the way to do it. You know the other reason I go to Whole Foods? I don't know if they heard me coming, but for the last month or so, they have pre-prepared... I'm going to try this, by the way. It's extremely dangerous, but don't try this at home, kids. They have pre-prepared and packaged smoked salmon prepared in the store. And I really like smoked salmon. I think it makes for a healthy and bougie breakfast that I can get behind. Get a little protein early in the morning and also feel just distinctly Norwegian. Either way... When I go to the other grocery store, they do have smoked salmon, but you have to get there before the fish counter closes. And the fish counter closes like 2 hours before the grocery store closes. Now, I would never suggest that, you know, this grocery store is open till midnight, okay? I would never suggest that the people at the store should have to work until midnight to stock the fish counter for somebody coming in for some 11:30 p.m. locks. That being said, I'm also just going to say... It really puts a damper on my grocery shopping trip. You might say, NL, why don't you just go to the grocery store at 10? Or at 9:30 even, instead of... Because you can't go right at 10, because what if they're packing up the fish then? Then you'd be, excuse me, can I get the locks? They might say no. You know? They might go, oh, fine. How much do you want? Oh, sorry, I could just... No. So the real compromise is that I just go to the store that's already got it prepared for me, and I avoid the whole shebang to begin with. But... I do think it's kind of misleading, is all I'm gonna say. You know, sometimes I go, I'm looking forward to getting some deli meat. I see them out there putting the plastic on the meat, and they're like... Or I'm like, can I get some turkey? And they're like, sorry, we're closed. And I'm like, but you're not, though. I don't actually say that, I just go, oh, okay. And then I buy the weird slimy meat that's, you know, been shipped in from Canmore, Alberta, or something like that. That's not an insult towards Canmore, it's an insult towards shipping. If I wanted a shipped meat, I'd get shipped ham. Get it? Chipped ham. It's a Pittsburgh thing you wouldn't understand. Play this. Grab this. Go permanent. Polaroid invincibility. We're so close to making the Guppy dream happen. I am going to come to my own defense on this run. I don't think we played that badly. I think we've been... We got a lot of early game dampening of our momentum by unfortunately finding ourselves in a position where every single one of our Omega Penny attempts failed. But the run is actually fine, and I think most of the danger on this run has come from the bad luck on the rolls. I don't think it's come from, like, terrible play. Sure, we could have... Here's the thing. You could have made better decisions on what to use the Omega Penny on and what not to use the Omega Penny on. But I'd rather just hit the space bar and then let the chips fall where they may. Truth is, the game was rigged from the start, kid. Etc., etc. Hey. Ain't that a kick in the head? That's right, yeah. Give me a half red heart. I don't know why my brain was like, that's one of the sacrifice chests. Like, that's a spike chest. I was like, nah, it's a red chest. And my brain was like, don't do it. Reconsider. Read some literature on the subject. That's right. I know all of Andre 3000's verse at the start of International Players Anthem. I respect hip-hop. I just haven't listened to any new music for the past 9 years. It actually worked out really well there. Ha! Anyway. That's my grocery store anecdote for the most part. I'm trying to think if I had another. I don't think I had another one. I've become really... This is so pedestrian. But I've become so good at bagging groceries lately. I do a lot of solo grocery shopping. I know grocery shopping is like a couple's activity. I don't mind solo grocery shopping. Because I guess I'm 80. Because what I was about to say is, it gets me out of the house. It's like something you say when you're a million years old. But I actually, you know, when my grandparents said stuff like that, I was like, that's stupid. Now that I'm older, they have gotten so smart. It's a little bit of a completely butchered Mark Twain quote there. But anyway, we spend all day inside. Anytime I get the opportunity to go outside, I'll even do stuff that, like, has no benefit for me whatsoever. You know, Kate will be like, I really want bubble tea. And I'm like, I'll go get it. Get me away from this screen for, like, you know, half an hour a day. And then, of course, after I'm out there for, like, 8 minutes, I'm like, I wonder what's happening on Twitter. Oh. People are mad at the president. Oh, people are mad at the people who are mad at the president. Just never-ending drama that I have to stay completely abreast of because of some terrible flaw in the human brain. Well, this is super the wrong way. So I don't mind getting out of the house. I quite like it. That's why, like, I try to tell this to Austin. I really firmly believe I am in no position to tell anybody else how to live their life. We're in this so weird bubble on Twitch where you can actually make the argument. And the argument makes me mad because it's right. Because Hafu and Austin make the same argument. They're like, well, why would you ever cook if cooking took like 20 minutes? You could just stream during that and make as much money as you would in order to order the delivery that would feed you instead. And I'm like, yeah, you're right, sort of, and I hate it. Because you can actually justify, like, almost any argument with that. Hey, stay back, mister. The thing is, they're not wrong on an opportunity cost level. And if you've decided as a... My eternal heart. If you've decided as a human being, this is not meant to be judgmental. That, like, your platonic ideal for life is to be inside playing a video game. What on earth? What have I done? Playing a video game at all times? Do it! Pursue that life. It's amazing that you got there. My platonic ideal is to spend about 1/3 to 40% of each day playing a video game as my job. By the way, I think the only way this could have conceivably worked for us is if we had actually hit like 4 successful void rolls in a row. Otherwise, they should have zeroed out to be a penny at some point, I think. But, you know, I just think... Wait, I saw a Guppy's head in there. Did I see a Guppy's head in there, or was that a pedestal that the 9 lives head was on top of briefly? Because if it's... I can't tell because there's still 100 poison bombs back there that leave a star on the map. You know, the reason I think Austin should not order delivery so much and should start cooking is based on my own personal experience. Yeah, that is not Guppy said. As like a dude who wants to spend all his time inside. It's helpful to have other things. You know, things unrelated to being at the computer. In my opinion, at least. Now, and, you know, you're gonna think I'm a hypocrite. It's like, what is the other thing that I do that takes up a lot of my time? Is going to school and programming. But, you know, that's how you know I'm not a hypocrite. That's how you know I'm speaking from experience. I do so much stuff at the computer that I'm like, whenever I get the chance to cook, even sometimes when I get the chance to do a chore, I'm like, this is a break for me from what I've been doing. You know what? I don't know. It's a little scary. I think just having some, like a couple of things outside of the computer is so valuable. That goes for you too, watching this, by the way. Unless your other hobby is watching me with ad block off, in which case, please continue to do that as often as you would like. By the way, unpopular decision, but I'm just going to get it out here right now. I have the left hand. I'm going to keep... That's fine. I'm going to keep the left hand to the next floor because I really, really want this Guppy dream. And at this point, the run has gone full friggin' Zane. So I am... Sure. I am willing to ride the lightning and see if we're gonna get there. It's just a red chest, so for now I don't really want to pop it, honestly. Like, I feel like that was the secret my parents never told me. I won't speak for you guys. But, like, I always thought, my dad worked so much when I was younger. He would get up at like 5:30 in the morning, he'd go to work at 6. He'd stay there from 6 till 6. 12 hours a day, 5 days a week. To his credit, never on the weekends, only very, very rarely at night. He was a very, well, he still is a very hardworking individual. And then on the weekends, you know, he and my mom would do all these home improvement projects where he would, you know, in my opinion, the house looks amazing. And they'd be like, it's floor's real crappy. We're gonna rip up the whole floor and replace it with like rich mahogany. And he would spend like, you know, 80% of his weekend doing that. And as a teenager and a young adult, I was like, why aren't you like just doing nothing? And he realized this is nothing. It's just productive nothing. You know, God willing, you're gonna spend a lot of time on planet Earth. You gotta fill that time with something. You can fill it with almost literally nothing, and then make the argument that, you know, time enjoyed is not time spent doing nothing. I think there is a case for that. But at the same time, you know, I think if you work a lot, productively doing other things that are unrelated to your work can be as satisfying as just sitting down watching a movie or something like that, although there's definitely room for that as well. You know, if you're constantly doing things just to justify working more, I think that's where it gets dangerous. You're like, well, I'm not gonna cook because I could just order delivery instead and spend that remaining time streaming. I'm like, yeah, but then you're just feeding the beast, you know? And I'm like pretty much like a literal workaholic. Like, I am... All the signs of alcoholism apply to me with workahol. Like, do I do it alone? Preferably yes. That's only half a joke. I obsess about it. Does it stop me from doing other things in my life that are important? Absolutely. So take it from me, kids. Fill the other areas of your life with something valuable as well, unrelated to work. Then you can get, you know, you're not burning the candle at both ends. One end you're burning the candle, the other end you're building the candle, whatever the heck that means. We're in a very dangerous spot here. Let me check Steam. Might do it. Oh. It's 10 minutes before the show. Let's download an 18 gigabyte game. We can do GoldenEye. That seems appropriate. I mean, I have it, but do you know how the online works? Because we might have to play separate for like 2 hours to get to a summon spot. Like the white sign soapstone is after the Taurus demon. GoldenEye works for me. Perhaps some Jacqueline box as well. Alright. Don't let me down. Sorry, let's do it like George Harrison. Don't let me down. Don't let me down. I almost hit like one good note in the middle there. I still, like, I don't know why, but please. I have one good note. And it's in Kiss from a Rose. I have to remember where it is. There used to be a grand tower alone on the sea. You became... I think that's it. You became... the light on... No, it's Love Remain. That's it, yeah. The light on the dark side of me. Love remain. A drug that's the high and not the pill. Hey. Hey. I can't believe I'm on this cursed run, my dudes. I mean, I can, because I, like... You want to go through the litany of very stupid, like, suboptimal stuff we did? Many of the items, like Judas' Shadow in particular... we should have just picked up. Probably should have re-rolled the triple I slot machine instead of trying to double it. And then getting nothing out of it, except for a single penny. Probably should not have brought the left hand down here, but I was so close to Guppy, and still am, that I'm... And our luck stat is so high. It just feels like it should be, likely. I wouldn't say guaranteed, but likely, you know? But I'm actually, like, I'm being honest with you. All of those mistakes were made deliberately. And not even in a, joke's on them, I was only pretending to be stupid sort of way. But in, like, a, this is a more exciting way to play the game right now sort of way. I don't regret those decisions. Because if they had gone the other way, that would be awesome. This room is horrendous. Like, it's never gonna be a good sign when you're using the attack fly to get like 99% of your damage done. But our damage stat is not that bad. And I don't really want to void yet. I'd like to void when there's some upside. You know, to help us out in the future instead of just immediately. For damage dealing purposes and whatnots. Please. One of them has not even been wounded whatsoever so far. Dude, I'm also cheesed, okay? So I've been... This is the reason, by the way, that I tether my life to real adults some of the time. Because I don't want to fall into this streamer bubble. For many reasons. One of which is that, you know, I have friends who are not streamers. And, well... that was weird. It always makes me self-conscious when they're like, what time do you want to meet for dinner? You know, like maybe 7:30, 8:30? And I'm like, oh, what about 11:45? I know the one place that's open on Robson, then we can get some good, you know, ramen or Korean barbecue or something. They're like, that's late. That's a late dinner. And I'm like, well, is it though? So I've been waking up on a much nicer, earlier schedule. The kind of schedule that, you know, no working person that works like a 9-to-5 job could have. But if you were retired, it's like, yeah, I'll wake up at 9, you know? I woke up at 9:30 today. Was gonna go for a nice, long bike ride. I wanted to tear up some distance. Look outside. I had my gross dirt shake for breakfast. Look outside. It's raining. Mother Nature, I'm trying to get diamond head calves here, and you're literally raining on my parade. How is that fair? So now I'm like, what do I do? I can wait till tomorrow, but hey man, it rained today. I think there's a high coincidence in rain days. If it rained today, it's fairly likely. It's more likely to rain tomorrow than it is to rain on an average day, right? So I get like a 1-day gym membership and then just pedal in place on a stationary bicycle. No, I almost blew up. That's obviously a joke. I'm not going to do that. It requires some foresight. Do you just bike in the rain? Can you do that? You can probably, I mean, I imagine there's reindeer and stuff like that, but I ain't got it. Hey, this room is taking its toll on me. This run is bad, and it's mostly my fault. I'm mad. So I'm gonna go to a different room. A different room that you wouldn't know. It lives in Canada. And we're gonna kill this guy instead and hope that this is the right path. I love, by the way, not knowing how many lives we have here. We still have the head, so we must have at least one. I think it's time to stop being silly. It's always tough to get out of the silly mindset when your run starts with a silly item. You know, when you start with Omega Penny, you're like, oh, it's gonna be one of those. It's like when you go see a Jim Carrey movie, and then he starts crying on screen, and you're like, what? Michelle Gondry, what have you done to our native comedian son? Please, Lord in heaven. Let me out of this. Pro good! I'm excited, everybody. The perfect item. That isn't actually an item, but I digress. At this point, I can't be making enemies. And I know you're saying crack the left hand. You don't understand, okay? If I crack the left hand, that's an admission. We still have the head. If I get rid of the left hand, that's an admission that our strategy has failed us. If instead I stick to a losing strategy in the hopes that it'll eventually win, I never have to admit I'm wrong, which would be more painful than losing in the first place. This is a long Isaac run for 2018. Actually, it's an Eden run? Actually, I'm dead. This is our last life. At this point, we just got a nut up. So plan C seems inappropriate for now. Do we know this? XX? Ugh. That's not likely. I hate doing this part. This is the worst part of the whole game for me, but I would really like to demonstrate I would prefer not to lose. So we're gonna... Hello. We're gonna do the little things you need to do to have a chance to win. That was not smart. Oh, it's obviously gonna be Mega Satan, so I'm gonna guess there's a low percentage chance that it's also the secret room. Oh, that's huge. Okay. Secret room? Secret room? Bum 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 bum. Mr. Secret, show me your room, show me your room, show me the room that could win me the game now. Not every song has to rhyme, you Philistine. Oh, it's not going to be there. It's probably on the right side of that room, which is a real dangerous situation. Game was rigged from the start, etc., etc. Well, no second secret room for me. Just be cool and be cautious, okay? So far, this is fine. Now, to some extent, life is pain because of the homing tears. It's the array of the homing tears combined with the actual shots that causes us the problem. But 1.82 speed is like, it's a homing tear defense system. Diablo 2, my friends. We've made it to the Diablo 2 section of the fight. The bombs proving very precious. That I had to literally, my brain was like, stop talking, you need the energy. We're doing the processing power right now. That poison would have gotten the kill. That's how you do it. You nut up. You get... Ooh! That would have been terrible. Hey, we won. Scary, but hey, thanks for watching. I hope you enjoyed it. If you did, click the like button. Helps to a great deal. Of course, subscribe if you want to see more in the future. But now, thanks for watching. I will see you next time.